Hello, everyone. So today I'm doing discussion, a module 6 discussion. And forgive me if you hear a bunch of children or loud noises or pitter patter. Spring break has begun and my children are home and they are playing and running around and yelling and crying and fighting at times. So I apologize. Our topic is we're talking about how all three of these factors, the reader, the text, whether it be digital or print, and the context, impact comprehension. And also we need to discuss what would occur if one was missing. So I guess we can, I thought about this for a moment when I read the question, and it kind of seems very basic. Like you read, you understand the words, you understand the basic context of what's happening, and you comprehend what's going on. But if you kind of break it down, you have the reader, the actual person who reads, and then you have the words that they're reading, which they read these words through phonics. Not necessarily they know what each word means, but a lot of children can read words and not know what the word means. They just know how to sound out the word. And then you have the context. What does it mean? In what way is it taking place? And so when you put all three of those together, if they have a good understanding of all three of those, you typically have a very well-rounded reader. So when I was thinking about it, I said, well, if you take the context away, then it makes it very difficult for the child to understand what they're reading. For example, if I'm reading a book about rabbits or animals, and I don't know anything, I don't know what a rabbit is or the animal that I'm reading about, the book is not going to make sense. I'm just reading words. I'm not understanding that background. So it's going to be difficult to comprehend what I'm reading. I made an example with a comment that I wrote on someone else's post about World War II. If I'm reading a book on World War II and I've never heard of World War II, I don't know anything about it, that book is going to, one, it's not going to interest me. Two, it's not going to make any sense. So context is very important. So without context, the words are just words. They don't really mean anything. And then, again, if you have a reader who really likes to read or wants to read, and maybe they understand the context, but the print isn't there, digitally or otherwise, or maybe someone's reading a story to them. Sometimes when a story is being read to somebody, they have a difficult time following along because the words aren't there in front of them for them to read. And then if you take away the reader, then, obviously there's no one to read. So all three of these things are very important and they're very intricate, and they kind of build together, work together. And when one's missing, it's like a tower that falls down. So I think that context can actually be one of the most important things. You can teach a child phonics. You can teach them that SH makes a sh sound, and that A is ah and B is b. They can learn those things and they can pick up on it very quickly, but the context is very important to what they're reading, and it helps them to stay engaged and active in reading, which can build upon those skills as they get older and they're starting to read more detailed books or chapter books or things that are broken up that don't have a clear beginning, middle, and end, or aren't 10 pages long. When they're starting to read books that have, 15 chapters and they have to piece together information from the first chapter and it aligns with stuff in the 10th chapter and memorization, that's when all of these three factors come together. And if a child isn't engaged and doesn't enjoy because they don't understand what they're reading, then it turns them off from reading. And then you have a difficult time teaching them that in the future. So those are just some ideas that I had on the topic on those three things. And I look forward to talking to